Hey everyone, welcome to episode 10, our first double digit episode of Resonate, a ball jointed doll podcast. As usual, I'm Porpita, and we have Nova and Vari with us today as well. So, today's episode, we will be talking about how our BJDs inspire creativity. So, as we always go traditionally here, who's your doll? Who did you bring?
Nova can go first. Her dolls look interesting. Like, I want to know about the little griffin.
Oh yeah, my Griffin dude. He's really cool. It's from Fairyland's first Griffin releases. This
Oh,
one's
the
the
first
Wow.
Fairyland
one?
Rest.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like from the very, very first one. I
it's
painted him like a long time ago. This face up's like, or this body blushing and stuff. It's like 3 years old.
it still look really good.
Yeah, it has a couple little dings, but it's survived pretty good so far. But they're
Wait,
really cool.
was that the one with the hotel?
With the
Yeah, where I
hotel.
had the incident where the wings came up stolen and I had to replace the wings.
Oh, yeah, I
You
hate
should
that.
tell people about that, Nova, just because like people
Yeah,
go to
actually,
cons.
please do.
Oh man,
Yeah.
maybe I should save that for BJD mishaps, but
Yeah, no, if you want to, that's totally cool.
I
That
have
will be
so
a
many
future
story
episode.
on the mishaps.
oh man. But yeah, in that case, I had left the box in the hotel room, and I had him with me in my purse. And when I came back, they had cleaned my room, and I still had the room for a couple days, so I was surprised they even cleaned it. And the box was gone, and they didn't know what happened to it, and they denied that anything happened to it, and the wings were in it, and so he no longer had wings for a while, and I had to contact Fairyland and get new wings and stuff.
I mean, it's
These
pretty
wings were
cool
a
that
bitch to get.
Fairyland like agreed to help you with that.
It was really cool that they did because they stole the box. I didn't have their certificate or anything, but I had my order number, and they
Oh,
asked for the police report because I had to make a police report about it. So they were like, "Let me see that." And so once they got all that, they made me the wings, and the wings match really good. You can sort of
is he
see
on
right
like
there.
Awesome.
fantasy color?
Yeah, he's the lavender color.
Oh, it looks a lot
Oh,
wider than I expected.
yeah,
it's
he's
probably
pretty
because of
old
how
though.
blue, right? How
Mm-hmm.
blue, like the blushing is, blue and purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
I went all
cool.
fantasy with it.
He's so cute. Oh my gosh! Like,
Yeah,
does
Yeah,
he?
they're
yeah.
super adorable.
So, do they release stuff like that anymore, or just no?
They did one other Griffin, but I mean, since then I haven't seen any. I don't know if they will anymore. Hopefully they will.
Yeah, I think
But
the
yeah, the
last
Griffins were really cool.
Griffin pre-order was like a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it was a while ago. It was like 2015 or something. I've had them for a while.
Yeah, that was before me joining. I think so. I think that was before I joined.
I
Really
think
cute.
Sorry, the screen is moving around a little bit because I'm trying to fit it in the middle. Okay, there we go.
Cute. It's. I would have never thought that was like Fairyland. Was it Fairyland or Lutz?
It was Fairyland. It was
Okay.
their like first fantasy thing they came out with. They called it their like fantasy art line.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm
Because
surprised they
for
don't
me,
continue.
yeah, like I'm kind of like I wish they would continue it, like because like for me, like Lutz and Fairyland used to be like the same. Fairyland used to be the same thing, and then they split, I guess, down the road. So I'm like, is there a difference?
I
People
don't
are like,
think. Well, I
yes.
mean, Lutz does do fantasy stuff. I mean, they both do fantasy stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
I
but now
think
they have.
CP is just a certain sculptor or something. Don't quote me on that though.
Definitely. So, okay, cool. And I'm gonna go second now. Vari can go
Yeah,
third.
I don't mind. I don't
so,
mind.
so I cheated because I just did. But let me actually get. Of course, all the cords. I got a new, better headset. But it's a long, long cord. So I have the same doll body and outfit, but her tights come down a little bit. But I got my dim Benicia back from the face-up artist Tia, and she's absolutely like wonderful in my eyes. And she has no underwear on, so trying not to flash. See if I can bend her over. Oh, that sounds awful. I'll fold her legs down. Wait. Anyway, I'm just digging a hole for myself. But you can see that she has like little blood on her face and she has a really coy look. I absolutely
Yeah.
love her. I was thinking about possibly like, I wasn't sure how I would feel once, she came back, but she's perfect in my eyes. So yay!
Yeah,
That's what
she's
I have.
actually really cute. I love her face up.
Yes, it's great. And she's so you should use Tia down the road if you want, when she takes commissions again because she's in your backyard.
Yeah, it's very cold and windy.
Exactly, which is why she's not open for commissions right now.
I totally
So let
understand
me
that.
move this over. But yeah, so tell us who you have with you, Avari.
Well, I have my usual, the face of my Instagram Rain here, but she has her glasses. I don't know if I brought her before with the glasses, and she has new eyes. Don't touch the new. Yeah, she has new eyes. I don't know how well you can see them, but the eyes are from Stamp Greencraft. I hope I say her name correctly. We will have it linked in the description. But yeah, the eyes are so on point. Love it. I love it. 10 over 10.
She looks super cute with those glasses too.
Oh, I know. My friends say she looks like a hipster because the glasses doesn't have. It's just a frame. It doesn't have like anything. It like the glass part. It's hard. It's hard to find. Don't judge me. I get what I can.
Where did you get the glasses from?
Oh yeah, I should probably have told you about that. I got the glasses from this Canadian artist. She is 3D printed, and her name is like Stella Accessories or something. I'll send you guys the link.
Cool,
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Let
and
me
this is
actually.
Dozo Nuva. I just got her this week.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, I like are her like I guess her ear thingies removable?
Yeah, it's nice, but it's also like give her a little hole over there, which make it harder to put any other ears on her. She's cute though. I love her.
Kind of gives me some Ice Queen vibes with those ears.
Yeah, right. I think that was her Dawson's theme for her too.
It's very cool.
Cause
I like how if you can find somebody who would make ears to pop in, like maybe Scathe or some that's something that would be
yeah,
cool.
I'm thinking about that.
For sure. So I'm hoping that she can see what I'm waiting for her magic for the Misheng
Same.
horns that I have because I would like to get non-weird deer. They're like really like heavy. They look like the lacy cookies that I'm like, I don't know if this looks like real deer ears. So I'd like to get like better looking horns for her.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. So let's talk about some artistry today. And first question, have you ever felt the need to craft anything for your dolls? And that can include sewing, wigs, face ups, etc.
Nova, you can go.
I definitely do face ups.
Do you want to make eyes wigs for them?
Oh, I don't think I'm brave enough to do eyes. I've been tempted to try wigs.
Yeah, I feel like wigs is more forgiving than eyes. I tried making eyes for them once. It's hard. It's so hard. I bought the base from like another eye artist, but she has actually stopped being on Instagram or selling things in general. So I'll probably link her later, anyways. But yeah, she doesn't sell it anymore. But I know a lot of other people do sell like an eye kit for you to just make it your own. The smell of resin is horrible.
Have you tried it yet?
Have I what?
Have you tried making eyes yet?
Yeah, yeah. I tried sculpting my own with like those like ladle clay and using an eye kit. The results are very different. Like eye sculpting is very hard. Pay your eye makeup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so with resin, that's the one thing that you have to be careful about because resin's pretty toxic and a lot of people don't wear PPE when they work with resin. So, in addition to trying to create eyes, you also have to make sure that you don't like poison yourself by, not wearing gloves or breathing in the fumes and all that stuff. So I think I see on Instagram a lot of people who do like resin craft and they don't really take the proper precautions. So just in general, when you're working with like toxic compounds, whether you spray them or they're liquid or whatever, make sure you have the right PPE. It's not
There
worth
will be
dying.
Definitely.
area.
For sure. So, yeah, so I guess we briefly talked about that like on the last episode where Nova was like, "Oh, maybe I might want to make some wigs." But for me, let's see. Sorry, I'm jumping in, Avari. Like
No, no, I don't
totally
mind.
jumping in. So face ups are just not for me. I try, but I just don't think I have the patience to let it spray in between. And I know sometimes you have to build it up in layers, but then I think I go a little bit heavy handed, and then it starts looking blotchy, and I'm like, oh no, I ruined it. And then I'm like, oh, I need to wipe it, but that means I need to like clean it, then spray again, and I just don't seem to learn from it. So maybe I could probably work on maybe some painting, like light painting and
Mhm.
blushing and whatnot. Since I ordered that dang cute alpaca doll. Um, yeah. So
That
threw
thing's so
another,
adorable, though.
I know, I
Yeah.
threw another like doll into the doll pile because it's really embarrassing how many dolls I have on order. But I think like, I'll try that because you don't have to be so detailed with like the line work with the eyelashes and
Yeah.
brows. So it's just more like putting some like blobs of, blush and stuff. So I'm like, I think I can do that. And so
Yeah.
I would be interested in trying that, but then also I sew and I make wigs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What about you, Vari?
I feel like I've tapped on everything at one point, except for like the whole sewing thing, which I want to do this year. We'll see if I'm gonna get there ever. But yeah, like I have tried making eyes. I have tried making wigs. Face up. I did that too. Yeah. The only thing left is sewing, I believe.
So
I
out of
tried
everything that
sewing. I'm no good at it.
no,
Sorry.
sewing is a skill like every other
It
craft. You can
really
practice,
is.
practice, practice, and you will get better. So it's hard with dolls because I feel like with dolls, the sizes vary so much that it's such a pain in the butt. Like, really, it is.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, like because I sew a lot for Blythe, and I know 1/6 can be fiddly. The thing is, most likely, like there's a ton of like 1/6 standard pattern books that are made for Blythe and Blythe size dolls. If not, there's like 22 centimeter, 27 centimeter. There is a standardization there, but with
Mhm.
BJDs, you don't get that. And I actually made a variety of dresses from the Hanon Tiny Wardrobe book, and the size difference for all the bodies that I've had was really annoying. So I sewed multiple snaps so that if it was a thicker doll, I would use the snap that was further apart. But if it's a slimmer doll, then they can use a smaller one. But it's annoying because you can't really have like a one outfit fits all sizes kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's frustrating with patterns. And I've been working on something recently, and I thought I had better skills. Realistically, I thought I was getting there, but I'm like, oh God, I need to take some pattern drafting classes. And I think I'll do that this year just to make sure that I properly do it versus kind of
Mhm.
taking like shortcuts that still work and look nice, maybe, but properly doing it so it's not as head slammy.
I feel
So,
like you can definitely do some like commission stuff for the outfits you make. They look really good. You should
You'll get one
definitely
of
sell
those sewing
those.
old ladies being like, "That's not the proper pattern, though."
oh my God, yeah. Like that's the one thing about sewing groups that I'm in on Facebook is that you always have somebody who's like 60 or 60 to 80 telling you how you should do certain things that one way, which, it's valid. I take advice from people who have been experienced and have sewn for such a long time, but there's not only one way to do it. And that goes to like Velcro and snap for closure. I
Mhm.
actually do like Velcro on knits, but I do not like them on woven clothing because it just feels a little bit cheap. But I don't like sewing
Mhm.
snaps on knits unless you like, put some interface on it. But yeah. But what I was gonna say too, before I just totally went on a tangent, is out of all the things you tried, Avari, which one did you like the best?
Um, the wig is relatively easy. It takes some time, especially with the alpaca you sent me. I have been washing it and it's still not clean. I'm sitting here like, oh my god. It does take a
Yeah.
lot of time, but it's not a lot of work involved in it. Uh, I'll say making wig is the easiest part. It's the easiest one out of all of them. Eye stuff, making eyes is relatively hard if you have like a sensitive, I guess, nose. I don't know how sense of smell.
That's why you
I
wear PPE.
Yeah, that's true.
You should
Don't be
wear a
stupid
mask.
like me because I didn't. It
Yeah.
sucks. I
But
had
to be
nose bleed.
fair, oh, that's not good. That's
Oh
really
yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah.
But to be fair, like I don't think a lot of resin kits actually have warnings on them that say you need to, you know,
They do not.
yeah, or that like, hey, kids can do this, but like, are there gloves? Like, it's required you should wear gloves, and
Mhm.
over time, if you work with it a lot, then you need to probably wear a respirator. So,
Yeah.
those are just things that it's not out there, which is kind of scary because resin, you can definitely build an intolerance to it. I don't mean to like talk so much about this, but there was a customizer. Her name was Rachel, and she went by like Even Star on Den of Angels, and she was like one of the top tier, like US based face up artists. Like right in the beginning, because there weren't many face up artists in the US, but she was like one of the ones who had a very similar style to Asian artists, which people were like, oh my goodness,
Ah.
wow. It wasn't like amateur looking. So she actually left the hobby because over time, as she worked with like resin and MSC, she actually got an allergy to it.
Ooh.
And yeah, so she couldn't do it anymore. And I think she was selling like reusable sanitary pads on Etsy
Mm.
in the end, like the last I checked up on her, but she was, doing something else. And there was Squishdella. I think she changed her name on Instagram, but she made the most like detailed, awesome, pretty clothes.
Mhm.
And she actually had to stop working with many resin dolls because it continued to off gas. And she also developed
Oh.
an allergy too. And she now predominantly works with vinyl dolls. So yeah, so those are things
Could
that,
you imagine like being allergic to your doll collection all of a sudden? That would really suck.
Yeah, I know. Also, if
mm,
you do have like a whole, I don't know if this happened to everyone, but to me, my collection has like it sit in like a small like closet, right? A dark closet, and I used to have the door closed all the time. Even though most of my dolls are secondhand and they're not like emitting that resin smell, over time it does build up, and when I open the door, it smells really like the resin is really strong. I don't
Smells
think.
like you just walked into like a whole doll or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's really bad. So if you do store your dolls, like maybe just have it a little bit more breathable, like the container, just to make sure the smell doesn't build up. It's really bad.
So it's the smell of the resin still off gassing, and
Yeah.
I guess some of it just will not. I don't know if it'll ever stop. That sounds really crazy and kind of weird, but so that was a problem with some of the dolls that Squish had, was that she couldn't kept some of her older ones, like some of her like
Oh.
older dolls that she's had, and she had quite a few. Like I remember she had minifigs, really pretty dolls, and some of them were okay, but some she could not have because even though she tried to store them in a box and
Mhm.
like waited to see if the smell was gone, they just continue to off gas. And I actually have some of my doll heads in a box, and when I open it up, it's like
Oh
whoosh,
yeah,
like
yeah.
resin smell,
It's
right?
just
And it's
like
like her closet. Even I have a doll cabinet, and sometimes when I open it, I'm like, I see my cat sometimes trying to get it. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, get out. I'm like, don't kill yourself. But I just feel like, it's just kind of like when you air out things that you buy like online, if it smells like vinyl or plastic, it
mm,
continues to off gas until like, it's I guess done off gassing. But sometimes with the resin, it's a little bit scary too.
it is. I don't know which one because I have a whole bunch of like different dolls sitting in there, so I don't know which one that keeps doing that. But I don't. It's just smell really bad. So yeah, just have like your container breathable, or just open it once in a while so it doesn't attack you later on.
Definitely agreed. And just be like cognizant of things like that, right? And I
Yeah,
always hear people where they're like, "Oh, they love the new resin smell," but I'm like, I don't. I think it smells like
yeah,
chemicals, and my brain starts hurting.
it
Yeah, I'm not a big
does.
fan of it myself.
So let's see. Do you feel like your dolls inspire creativity? And I guess one thing we haven't really talked about was not just creativity when it comes, excuse me, comes to like just sewing or painting, but I guess like things like storytelling and characters. And for me, I don't. I'll just flat out say this, so I don't have a turn for that. But I know you two do, and that's something that I don't know if I am into because I feel like it's a lot of work. But like I guess talk maybe a little bit more about that. Like what motivated you to actually, have stories for your characters? Did you like playing games? Did you like writing stories? All of that.
Uh, I know I started collecting dolls because I read like manga and watch anime when I was way young. You know, the whole Sailor Moon and
I like
stuff.
how you said
I
way
like that.
young, but also, did you write fanfic?
Okay, no, the fanfic I have never read it, but I
Really?
yeah,
Nova, did you
actually.
write fanfic?
I was never a writer of fanfic, no, but I
Okay.
used to like paragraph role playing posts
Popita, did
of
you write
characters and
fanfic?
stuff.
Because you bring that up.
I total sorry, I was like my muting, but I'm like checking to make sure. But oh yeah, I totally did. Like I wrote Sailor Moon fan fiction. Although like
Sailor
Sailor
Moon
Venus was
fanfic.
my Sailor Venus was my favorite, but like, I wasn't like into the smutty stuff because I went to like a really religious
That's
school
fair,
in high
yeah.
school. Yeah. And I feel like, but like I know that some people did write really smutty stuff. And when I got older, I discovered I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really saucy. I think I like some of this. Not pretend I don't. I was like, wow, this is like really juicy. Although to be fair, if you read Sailor Moon, there's a lot of really adult situations in it.
There
So,
is.
but anyway, but go on.
Yeah, so basically I just kind of make one of those like characters, like self-insert characters, and be like pretend to be in their own world, and this whole thing is so embarrassing to say. But yeah, and it's just like a habit. I just keep going until now. I'm still making characters, but it's just kind of in my own world. I'm trying to build one with my dolls, and part of it is based on the D&D world. Like Ren here, this one, she is originally my D&D character. So I guess I play with her a lot. That's why I started like when I have her doll, she's her in a doll form. She's like my favorite because I have a lot of memories with her.
I realized you play D&D. Did you played it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea you did because, I talk about making stuff for, JP and his campaigns, but you're not like, oh, that's so cool, or like, hey, blah blah blah, I do this thing too, and that's why I'm like, what? It was like, and then like the minis that like like that Skate recommended to us that
Yeah.
I post like I don't see you be like, oh my gosh, but maybe that might not be your thing. You're more into the other side
Uh,
aspect of it.
I think the stuff you made for him is really cool. I'm just like not that invested into the whole like preparing the table to play because usually I'm not the DM.
Hmm. But still, like,
Dimitri
see,
is.
if I knew that, I would have like printed you out like a spell counter or whatever and mailed it to you in your package. Like, I had no idea you were into that. Like, okay, now I know. So,
Oh no, it's okay.
anyway.
I'm not that invested because we only play in like a little group of me
Mhm.
and Dimitri and our friend. That's it. Like it's just a group of three, so we just make up like our own word and stuff like that to play. So I don't think like it's relevant to anyone else who play D&D. I'm sorry. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, the spell counting thing, I don't know how it works.
Oh, you don't track your spells when you cast them? I don't really know much about it because I don't play, but JP he DMs quite a bit. So, and he joins some of his games. He has a group that he plays with.
That's
Um,
nice.
yeah. So, but I think that one fell apart because of other commitments other people are having, joining other
Yeah.
games. So it happens. But that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like the hardest part in D&D is just to find the time that everyone is free and play together.
For sure. What about you, Nova? Because I know you have characters and you're like no more unless they have like a background and all that stuff, which is good discipline.
Yeah, I have kind of a story I've been working on. It's not like fully finished or anything, but it's like I don't know. Most of the dolls I do have are actual characters. I think I have like 4 dolls that I've allowed to exist just because they're really cool. But most of mine are actual characters that fit somewhere in my little makeshift story.
And
And
I guess for the storytelling piece, was there something that you liked doing when you were younger that you could find like, inspiration in dolls?
actually existed a little bit before the dolls, so it was cool to see them and find ones that would like kind of fit into the idea of the character. And
What was
also
that?
after,
Sorry, Nova, you cut off a little bit in the beginning.
oh sorry, I said my story came before the dolls, so it was cool to find like the dolls afterwards, and then kind of
Hmm.
personify the characters into dolls that you could see, and it sort of helped me like come up with more ideas for the characters too. So
Cool.
I think they inspired me to write quite a bit.
Wow. So I guess with the writing piece, was that something that, from games that you played or just like you just enjoyed writing as a child or teenager?
I was one of those role play nerds
Oh,
as a
okay.
teenager, so I was always typing up long role play things, and then that just became a love for writing.
So what did you role
Oh,
play?
that's
I'm just
nice.
curious.
Oh man, all kinds of things.
Mm.
Like Sailor Moon characters. I think there was Pokemon for a while, and then there was like wild animals, and then there was people doing
Mhm.
random missions and stuff. All kinds of just random anime themed stuff. I think
That's
I even did
cool.
Inuyasha roleplay for a little bit.
That sounds fun.
Did you ever do Neopets role play? I know some people did that, which is always very strange to me, but like just because they're
Oh
not
my god,
fleshed out
Neopets.
characters.
I was
But there
never
is
big on
Neopets role play.
Neopets. I always thought Pokemon was way cooler.
Fair enough.
That's
But
fair.
I like there's like, sometimes like because I feel like Pokemon, you're like, oh okay, they put like a little personality with Pikachu. You're like, I could do some role play here, but like with Neopet, you're like, I don't I guess I'll completely put my personality on it or something. So that's cool.
Yeah, see, writing is like one of the thing I never actually do officially. Because I don't like writing at all. Like my writing is horrible. I am very bad communicating my thoughts to like other people, so I just don't do that often, and that's why I ramble a lot. So I'm sorry about that.
No, I
um,
think it's fine. Like I don't think your writing is bad. I mean, come on, like, you speak English really well. You speak another language, very fluently. So like don't be like, I'm off. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're doing a lot better than most people. So,
yeah.
but no, I think that's cool. So I guess with your character development, do you do like a character sheet versus like full blown like story?
I do have story, but it's more like in a point form. Like, oh yeah, this happened in this year, and then that show up, and it just kind of keep going. I have like a
Like a
full
brief
list.
backstory of them.
Yeah, it just keep going and going. And I'm like trying to connect everyone on the map. I'm like that crazy person meme. I'm just like, I got this, guys.
Oh man, building character relations is kind of tricky.
Oh my god, it is. It's
So
really rough.
are your characters all like in the same universe or are they like in separate universes or whatever?
They are in the same universe, relatively in the same universe, because you know how I have like I have Ren dress up in like modern outfit for now. That's because I couldn't find her armor. But yeah, they I guess they both exist in like the modern world, and the technically like this one. Sorry, my face so close to the camera. Like this one, she oh my god. Like for like dolls I have an armor for, they would just exist in my fantasy world. The way you made
I
it.
think that applies for mine too, is they all kind of exist in the same made up
Yeah.
world. Mine's kind of a modern setting,
Oh,
like
modern
modern,
setting.
maybe slightly futuristic setting. So they
I
get away
feel
with normal
like
clothing, luckily.
yeah. See, like I feel like in the modern setting, it's so much easier to find clothes for them.
Yeah, it's
It's
low key cheating almost, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, I think armor and like well done armor that's not like
Mm,
expensive. That's always a catch.
it's rare. Yeah.
It's hard to find. Yeah, especially if you want to like gear up like a little small army and you're like, okay, well, one of you get pauldrons, the other one gets the helmet.
Yeah.
Good luck on the battlefield. Figure it out.
Together, you guys make one full soldier. Like
Exactly. You're
no,
like, we're on a budget in this kingdom.
that's all the budget I have. I also have
Exactly.
like a whole collection of just BJDs like weapons, just sitting at the
That's
back of my
cool.
closet.
Oh, same.
Sure.
I hoard fairyland weapons.
Me too.
To me, it's always crazy. And I guess it's not so crazy, but I feel like cast weapons shouldn't be as expensive as they are. I don't know, like that might be completely unfounded, but I feel like some of the like weapons cost more
Mhm.
than like doll heads, which I think is I don't know, I feel like that's kind of crazy. I don't
I
know.
mean, I feel like it depends on which split you join. The splitting thing again. I feel like it really depends on the split you join, because I know I got my weapons before I started hosting. I got my weapons for a relatively good price, which is I guess under $100. After I host, it's still about the same because I want to be fair to everyone. And sometimes I don't understand where the whole splitting fee, like, how do I say this? I feel like for some splits, the prices don't add up. Like everything adds up to like much higher price than the company's price of a full doll.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a handling fee that we've seen in some splits, which it does make sense because it does take time to pack stuff up. But I think part of it is that you can expect to pay some sort of like markup, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest concern is that I've seen people do splits, and when they do a split, they're like, okay, this part's claimed, but they have no price because it's what they wanted. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how much are you paying for that body? Like, I remember there was one that I shared with you
Yeah.
guys that, it was like, it was a Fairland split. And then the body was maybe for that person was probably like 190 or 200, something really crazy.
Yeah,
Because you guys were
that's
like, oh my
way
God,
cheap.
that was awful.
The
Yeah.
It's
cap of the
always
body.
Fairland split.
Yeah, and then and that I feel like those that lack transparency, those are to me like the worst because I mean, shit, I shouldn't cuss, but like, shoot, I might as well just do like a split myself, and I'm like, okay, well, I would like this for free, but like I'll pay a little bit and let me mark it up. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
just not fair to your participants either,
That is
and
not fair. Like, what makes you think you can just get this for free because you host it? Where's the logic here?
yeah, I think that's like something that will be like, I don't know, because I feel like we bring it up a couple times. Maybe we can do an episode to talk about more buying and selling practices that people should just be aware of so that, they don't get taken advantage of. But even with like the layaway that you were doing, like to me, it boggles my mind that you guys are, kind enough to accept layaways. And you have like 6 to 8 people, depending on what is being divvied up. And if you do a 6 month layaway, that's anywhere between 36 to 48 payments. And that's crazy to me of PayPal payments from your entire team.
It
And I'd
is.
be like, oh, hell no.
It
No.
is.
Like if it's, that's why I said when it's under $100, you make a one-time payment. If you
Mhm.
buy the pricier stuff, maybe a little bit more. But I can't imagine trying to like be on top of, all that. That's wild to me.
Yeah, in my last split,
It
I
really takes
think,
management.
yeah, it takes times and management. It's a lot of work. I don't care that much because I get what I want and it's for a sensible price, and I know I'm not scamming anyone. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people taking layaway. I don't mind that at all, as long as they pay on time and stuff. Like we wouldn't have any trouble. And most of my hosts has been going very well. If you're watching, thank you.
That's good. And let's see, what do we have next? Let's see. Okay, so we kind of like talked about, do your dolls inspire you to make characters? Do you write about them or draw them? Oh, do you guys draw your characters? I think Avari might. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you, Nova?
The best at drawing humans, but I have drawn them once or twice.
Yeah, I only draw human. I can't do anything. I only draw females. I cannot draw anything else.
I should try drawing, but I feel like now technology's gotten so advanced that if I don't have the digital tools, it doesn't count. You know what I mean? Like I need like the Procreate, the iPad. I'm like, well, I don't have either. So, or like the pencil, and I'm thinking like, does paper still count? Like, does
Paper
paper work? And I'm
definitely still
like,
count.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I do use paper. I do sketch like a random characters or something like that, and sometimes like an existing character on just paper and pencil. I feel like it's more freeing than using Procreate. Cause I don't know. I feel like when I use Procreate, I feel like I have to like be very specific with it. Like I have to be good. I cannot make mistake. I don't know if anyone else feel this way, but I do. But
but
I
isn't the
definitely
purpose?
prefer traditional over digital.
yeah, something like that.
I feel like with
And
like digital, you could like go in and like clean up the layers and all that
yeah,
jazz.
that's why I do digital. It's been 2, 3 years since I started, It's very easy, but for the whole sketching purposes, like the whole like just for fun, just doodling, definitely use tradition. So much easier. Actually, Pavita, you should draw something. I think it's a fun thing to do.
I actually was really big in art when I was in high school. Like I absolutely loved it, but I did a lot of traditional media
Hmm.
where, I did a lot of sketches and painting. I mean, I don't really think I'm a great painter. I think I was a better like drawer, like with just like pencils and charcoals. But but then digital became a thing, and then I was like, oh no, I'm falling behind. But yeah, I was actually used to do, and I would say that I wasn't bad at it either. Like like I wasn't bad. They weren't like, stick
Yeah.
drawings, although I do decent stick figures. But we did like landscapes, and we did projects like master copies, and I wish I had some with me, but most of it's at my mom's house.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was really big into art, and I didn't want to necessarily go to art school when I was going to university, but
Yeah.
because I realized it was going to be uphill climb to get work after. But it was something that I really enjoyed doing in school. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll practice. I'll maybe try to draw some of my dolls this year. That might
Yeah,
be one
you
of my
should. I feel like
goals
art
I
Do
can do.
it.
is
Do it.
yeah. I feel like art is a very accessible hobby, and I don't think it should you have to be good to enjoy it. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. I'm saying this, but I'm one of those people myself. Like whatever you guys draw, I will fucking love it. Oops, I'm sorry. I will just love it.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you're actually drawing and creating
Yeah,
that counts, I think.
I think it's great. Like do what we want, draw it. It's fun. I think we went off track. You're muted.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, I have to look down because I guess it blinks, but then I'm like, okay, I remember when I pushed it and when I didn't push it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I clearly don't. So, okay, so like, have your dolls pushed you in any unexpected creative ways? For example, did you learn photography? Oh, that was one thing that we didn't talk about photography. Like,
Oh yeah.
and maybe we can talk about that. Or how to sew when you didn't plan to at first. Or have you ever tried to make a doll?
I have never tried making a doll. I have tried making the accessories. It went very badly. Because again, I don't know how to use clay. I didn't look at
Mm.
any tutorial. Don't be like me. Just look up a tutorial. Doesn't hurt. But yeah, I didn't look up any tutorial. I was just like, I have clay. I have hands. Now I'm gonna just do it. Put together. Maybe something will happen. It did not.
But I don't think that's a bad approach either, is that, you go ahead and you try and you do it, right?
Yeah. Just
And I think that's half the battle is just actually doing it and feeling and
it
not
really
feeling like
is.
I can't, do it, and talk yourself down from it.
Yeah, like actually starting doing something for the dolls is a battle. It's hard. It's just really hard. You would have stuff lying around you on the table or whatever. You look at it and you'll be like, maybe one day I'll do it.
And that's what it is, like, actually going ahead and doing it. So, like, once, your sewing machine, like, of course, or even Nova, if you do wigs, then, I'm happy to share with you guys, like, how I do stuff and what I've learned or what tutorials I've used, because I think part of a hobby is not just about monetizing it because it makes it really not fun very fast, but like just learning a new skill and, not, I don't want to say saving money because supplies are very expensive,
They
but,
are.
but they really can be. But once you have the skill set down, then you can make a lot more. So it makes a lot more sense. But up until then, like even starting a new one, like eyes, I think eyes would be fun to make, but I don't know if I really want to do that because I already have so many hobbies that require an arsenal of supplies that I'm just like, no thanks.
Supplies are definitely a thing too, because like for face ups, I have a big, huge pile of just face up stuff, giant piles of Pearl-X and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like face up is one of those things that harder to get like starting because like you have to get the pencil, crayon pencil, like water pencil or something like that, and you have to get the sealant, you have to get this, you have to get that. That's like way too many things. I have supplies just sitting in the closet, and I'm just like I'm not using it.
Is it what kind of supplies do you have?
I have sealants and some powders to like do blush up and stuff. Uh, water crayon pencil or something like that. I don't remember. Like I have a variety of colors. They're just sitting there because the weather is bad. It's cold like half a year, and the other half the year I have to go to school.
For sure.
There's just no time.
Yeah, it's definitely time management and doing what you can.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the spraying part because like I think, right now it's winter, it's not as cold as it is in Canada here, although there are periods where it does get, below freezing, but it's just making sure there's so many conditions because if you don't meet those, then your sealant
Oh yeah,
cracks,
definitely.
stuff flakes off, and I'm like, no.
That's why I like. That's why I think wig making is the easiest and the most accessible part because you can just buy the supply. Like you need the fiber, you need the brush, you need water. I'm sure you have those. If you're in this hobby, you should have water, right? Like if you don't, there's a problem.
Yeah, for
Seriously.
sure. At the very least, please have access to water.
Yeah. Glue and maybe like an old sock or some scrap uh fabric. That's it. You can do everything indoor. You don't need like condition like weather or have to worry about the smell.
I think wig making would be forgiving because of that reason.
Very easy to start up.
For sure. One thing that I struggle with my wigs still is like haircuts. Like I have no
Yeah,
idea how
same.
to cut hair. I just hope haircuts turn out okay, which I've been able to hobble on by because I think they look fine. But like I still but I also like I want my wigs to be stylable, that they're not like
Hmm.
one style only. But I feel like I need to figure out a better way to cut hair because the thing is with like finer fabrics like alpaca and mohair, it's very blunt when you cut it. So like you
Hmm.
still have to thin it out, and I'm like, it's not like human hair or anything like that. But haircuts I think are still really challenging. I didn't even want to cut my like Bly's hair. I'm like, no thanks. So I always try to line up the fibers so that the tips are naturally like tapered and it looks a little bit nicer, but I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's
no
definitely hard.
haircuts.
I feel I successfully
Mm.
made a yarn wig, and I think I showed you guys last year. It's still sitting in the bag, not being cut because I'm too afraid to cut.
I legit one time messed up a synthetic wig because I tried to cut it and then I just never could get it even again, and I was like, why?
Regret. Cutting hard. Cutting hard. Cutting wig is hard. Pavita, are you okay? Are you looking for your cat?
No, no, no. He's actually in my bed. He's been in my
Ah.
bed, sleeping in the blankets, like literally all afternoon. I was going to show you a wig I was working on, and I have no idea what I did with it. I see the doll that I was making it for, but I was going to say that, like, with haircuts, is going to go the Asian route where you put a bowl on. It's a bowl haircut, but it's cute. It's like a bob, but But I'm like, it could quickly go in that direction. So I'll find it.
One
Post
day.
on my Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just working on it. I'm like, what did I do with it? I'm like, what in the
I
world?
always
Like,
do stuff with that. I like misplace it in an obvious
oh, here it
spot.
is. I
Right?
think it's here. Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's a black
it's here.
bob.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I love that. You cut it pretty well. Looks really
Is that
nice on the
mohair?
doll.
Oh, okay. I was like, am I muted? I'm like looking at it. No, it's not. It's alpaca, and
Oh,
this took me way too long. Like I think I've spent like 10 hours working on it because I've been like obsessing over like let me trim the ledges. I have like my little razor thing from Daiso that I got,
Oh,
and then
nice.
afterwards I have like my scissors, and I'm like, okay, let me do this, let me do that. Oh, is this working out? I have no idea what I'm doing. Like sometimes I feel like that's a hobby. I've like watched YouTube tutorials to cut hair. I don't think I've learned from them. I'm like, theoretically, it does make sense what they're saying, but it just doesn't work the same, you know?
It makes sense when they say it, but it doesn't when you actually do it. You made it again.
Sorry, yeah, I was like,
Okay.
okay, I was like trying to reorder because my cat actually, when you asked about him, he just popped out, but now he's looking for food. So I was like, what is he doing? And all that stuff. So,
That's fair.
see, what about you, Nova? I don't know if you commented on like, has the hobby pushed you in any unexpectedly creative ways?
super terrible at photography when I first started. I had no idea what I was doing. And now I can almost take a decent picture of even like stuff that aren't dolls, like my cats or just even people now. I think it would have definitely pushed me towards photography for sure. which I didn't expect when I started the hobby.
Oh, really?
For sure.
Wait, actually, what was your expectation when you joined the hobby?
Oh, I wanted to just do face ups and stuff, but then I realized part of that was having to take good pictures of your work.
That's fair. That's a good point. For Peter, what was your expectation?
I just liked them. I thought they were pretty and I wanted to buy stuff for them. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't plan. And I think it was sewing. It was to actually sew.
Oh.
But for the first probably like 15 years of the hobby that I've been in, like, but I was in and out of it. Like, but it wasn't until more recent because I've been in the hobby, according to Den of Angels on their site since 2003. But I've been, I think, a little bit sooner on like, the the Yahoo groups, but it was to sew. And it literally wasn't until the past 3 to 4 years that I actually started sewing doll clothes. So I never successfully made doll clothes that I wanted to because it was the problem. It occurred to me why it was so hard sewing for ball jointed dolls is that there was no standardization that if I wanted to make something for my SD, I had to like maybe use Volks patterns, but at the time my custom house dolls were slimmer and I didn't know how to sew really to begin with. So it's like trying to make pattern changes and then alterations, but also learning just the basics of sewing. It was too much to do. So
Yeah,
when
there's a
people
lot to learn.
yeah, and so that's the thing. When new people come in the hobby and they want to sew, I'm not saying you should do this, but I feel like part of it is that find a doll that you like. It's like 1/6. That's like because there's so much out there and there's so many English resources for 1/6 clothing. And it's all standardized. Like so not, relatively standard that it would fit like, Blythe, Obitsu, pure Nemo bodies learn how to sew for those and then you can apply the skills there to sew for ball jointed dolls and it can go vice versa. Nowadays there's a ton of mini feed patterns, so that's why I kind of want a mini feed just so that I could just cut and sew. I don't have to like do alterations. I don't have to think about things. I really enjoy those kind of projects because they come together very quickly. But if I have to draft something, try to figure out why does this not work, why do I have to make a mock-up, then it becomes a little bit less fun. But yeah, like so I feel like there's so many things that, when it comes to certain crafts that it's hard to take all in at once. Like I see on Den of Angels that you have somebody asking, "Oh, I would like to make a suit for this doll. Where do I start?" Okay, that's a tall order there, They're like, how do I draft a pattern? And I'm like, okay, first question, have you any sewing experience? No, is usually the answer, no. And I'm like, trying to make a suit without any sewing experience is like really, really hard, especially if you have the expectation that's supposed to look like something that, Soom made or Doll Zone made. I'm like, no, you're not gonna get that. Like, no.
The first
and
couple things I tried to sew were so bad.
and it's hard. I mean, it's hard because you're still learning the skill. A lot of it is like sewing itself isn't hard, but it's like all the tips and tricks that you have with it, like, making sure you have the right needles, using tricks like stabilizer to help you sew, stuff like that that people don't talk about. And I see a lot of clothes that are not made, but not made well and are sold. And I'm like, oh, because, one thing, if you have an elastic hem, let me rephrase that. If you have like a stretchy knit fabric, then you want to make sure that somebody has a double twin needle who's sewing it, which it looks like a straight stitch but two lines, or a zigzag, which is also very acceptable, so that when you like stretch the shirt to put it on your doll, it doesn't pop the stitches and break. Like, but I see a lot of people using a straight stitch, and I'm like, what? So it's
Yeah.
just like a lot of 101s, right? When it comes to sewing. And always ask, like, I'm always happy to help people. There's resources out there, and I think most people would be happy to help and teach. But it's always weird because you get the really defensive people asking questions. They're like, "Yeah, I knew this." I'm like, "No, you didn't."
When it
I
comes into
definitely
sewing, knowing how to do it, there's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah, sewing is seems to be hard.
You just have to
I'll
be
get
willing
the
to
one that
embrace that learning curve.
Yeah, exactly. You have to just raise the learning curve, and realistically, the more you do it, like it is definitely a high return. Like you do it very infrequently, you're not going to see improvement. But I can see where I started from, like, a few years back to where I am now. I'm like, holy cow, there actually was an improvement. This is great.
no pain,
Versus
no
like,
gain.
you're like, nothing's happening. I don't know what's going on, that kind of thing.
That's like art all the time. Like you would do it and you'll be like, "Oh God, it sucks," but then you compare it to your old pieces. It's just like, differences.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
you can
always
see
good to see
improvement.
noticeable progress.
Yeah.
So let's see. Almost done with today's episode. Got two more questions. Let's see. Okay. Do you ever feel inspired by some of the hobbies other creative people? I think that one would be like yes for all of us, but let's take it a step further. Like, I guess maybe this might require some thinking, but like, can you think of a creator who inspires you incredibly, or you're like, wow, I admire them so much. Um, I want to be like them, right? There's always good people to have as, people you look up to in the hobby.
That's
There's
tough.
anyone I would straight want to be like, but there's definitely people whose work I really do appreciate seeing.
Such as?
Oh gosh, I guess I could give a shout out to Mendoku Sai's work. She does photo stories with minifees, and they're really cool. Like the characters she really portrays them really well, and they come to life in her pictures really well. And just the way she
Actually,
poses the dolls and stuff is really cool.
for sure. I actually remember her because she was on Den of Angels
Oh yeah,
way back in the day, and
yeah,
she
she's
has
been
that
around a long
Peepos
time.
doll. Yeah, she has that Peepos doll, that with the patchwork doll. That's when I think
Little
of
kitty
her.
one.
That's immediately the doll I think of. So let
Oh
me
yeah,
let me see. Is that her user ID on Instagram as well?
I think it is.
Okay, let me see if we can pull it up because we talked about like, hey, maybe we share screen so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So let me show. Let me. There's way too many windows open. Okay, let's
And I really
try
hope I
this.
said her name right
No,
because,
no, you're right. I knew exactly who you're talking about, like without a doubt.
but I love her work. It's really awesome.
So we have this. Oh, she's in Alaska. That's cool. Mindo Kusai.
Okay, I don't think I know this person.
Oh, she has that dim Lorena. Okay, very cool. So let's see if I can find the doll. This is the doll that I think of.
Means troublesome.
This one over here. So
Oh. Oh, that's a cool doll.
it is.
Yeah,
It's
she's a
like
cute
one of the
kitty.
first like body painted like dolls, and that was like anthropomorphic. So it's really cool. Kitty.
Oh.
She's a cool account. I'm gonna follow her. There's some people who I just don't know who are on Instagram, so
Oh
I'll
yeah,
follow her.
definitely follow her if you don't because she does some awesome photography and her characters are really like brought to life in her work and that's one thing that kind of inspires me. I sort of don't think I'm at that point yet with my characters, but one day
One day. It's okay. You're getting there.
soon.
Very cool. Ooh, actually got minis. Oh, that's so cute. Pokemon. Okay. Anyway, what about you, Var? You had some time to think about this, so
Uh, man, it's hard. Wait, hang on. Let me just go on my Instagram and see.
It's so hard
okay.
just to pick one because like there's so many people that I think inspire me personally, so but
For
like right
sure.
off
Let
the
me
top of my head
actually
I would say that I love this person's photography.
So for me, I admire Madam Stitch so much on Instagram, and it's really a shame that they have their follower count isn't as high as I think it should be because their sewing is unbelievably beautiful. Like for me, I am so inspired by all the beautiful work that they do. Like just even something like this, like all the beading and the intricacy
Ooh.
here. It's so
Oh my
Well,
god.
pretty.
I actually didn't have them on my followers list, so I just followed them, but wow, that is beautiful.
And even like dresses like this. I mean, it's just amazing to
It's
me.
so
And
fancy. Oh my god.
right? And like, so when I saw this, my mind was blown because this is all pleating that she did on the bodice in tulle, which
Wow.
is a total nightmare. So yeah,
It's like some
I think,
serious sewing patience too. Like
Yeah,
yeah, it's all so detailed.
this is some serious work. Holy shit.
Yeah, like one of her first pieces that I saw. Let me see. Okay, so the first one that got me like, holy crap, were like these two pieces here. I was seeing if there's anything else, but just the fit. It was just so remarkable. And I was like, it was just beautiful. Like the cup and the tailoring. I mean, you can see my exceptional sewing here. Like, I'm like, oh my God. I was like immediately like followed her. But she's like really nice. She's always like, oh, thank you for the nice comment. Like, I was like, oh, she responded to me. But like, she doesn't have a huge following, which I think is a shame because she's super talented. There's a lot of like, for me, this is like true couture, like clothing. And one thing I'll go into my biggest pet peeve is that all the detail, the beading is that I feel like with her work is that everything is kind of like ordered that you I can't speak. I can't speak.
Take your
So
time. Take your
everything you
time.
order is custom, and it can be like, it can be done whatever you want. Her commissions are open. She does sew for very specific dolls because of the fit, but like to me, like it's like true couture, like clothing and artwork
Pretty
that
beautiful.
is beautiful. Yeah, and so my pet peeve is when people call themselves couture, and it's not. It's not at all by any means the definition of the word. So
Well, when
another
an
company.
artist you look up to notices you too, because you get that like, oh, senpai noticed me
Yeah.
feeling.
Exactly. And like she doesn't follow me, which is totally fine, but I enjoy following her account and her work process so much that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful that, I don't need people to follow me back. That's fine. I don't take it personally, but it's just very inspirational to me to see her work. And she's really nice too, because there's some people who are like really talented, but they're not that nice. So
Like
yeah,
up
so
about like you commenting or something.
yeah, or they're like, and I get it. Sometimes you're a follower account, you can't respond back, but the fact that she actually has taken the time to respond back to me, like, I appreciated that. So yeah, so for me, like, she's like somebody who I first saw their work was gorgeous and pretty, and I definitely like following them. So nothing but positive things to say. So Vari, you got some time. Did you find somebody?
Yeah, I'm just going through my list of following, and I realize not a lot of them are actually personal account on dolls. I follow a lot of artists and doll companies, but I have some people. Hydra Artelia, I don't know how to say that.
Let me see. Hydra Atelier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one.
Okay, this one?
No, the
Oh no.
first one, the Hydra
Oh, okay.
animalism thing. Yeah, cause the Artelia is her.
Okay, okay. Is the makeup place.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, very cool.
I really like her makeup, her face up
Wow,
style.
they do some awesome photos.
Yeah, I think her face up, their face ups are really good, and they don't charge like outrageous fee either for the commission. It's
I
just
think this
they.
doll is so cool. Sorry, I had to click on this. I'm
No,
like,
it's okay. Yeah,
weapons.
right, right.
Weapons.
They did really cool stuff with the dolls. I love how
For
bold
sure.
the face up is.
Oh, I guess we have Cappy here. We're just recording an episode, and I guess it's yeah, we're on our Discord, and yeah, cool. I mean, sure. Why
Hi,
not?
Cappy.
And
Yeah,
then let's
there's
see what
another
else.
person, but I cannot find her name. I actually don't know who she is, but you know that person with like who usually show like take photo with the dolls like wearing the same outfit. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
Hmm. I think she would. I think she's Japanese, but I don't think
Maybe
she's
it's
on
like
Instagram.
Ari Taro or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
You
Hmm.
guys are gonna give me a little bit more.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see. Let
I
me
can give you the
Google.
link. I have her link actually. I'll
Okay,
Oh,
put
you
it
okay,
do?
in
let's
the
see,
Okay.
let's see.
admin chat.
Oh, Iretaro. I can't say that. Let's
I
see.
don't think I could pronounce it right.
I think it's Japanese. Oh, okay. Taro. Taro. Sorry, my mouth is like not moving.
Iretaro. Yes.
So
Yeah,
why am I'm like
her.
I need click. Oh, oh, okay, okay. The mini me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
I
awesome that she does
love
these kind of
her
pictures.
photos. Like I just fucking love it. It's so cute. And the fact
For
that she's
sure.
using an Angelophilia doll,
Hmm.
it's just amazing.
Definitely. For sure. For
Yeah, I think
sure.
it's really cool.
Oh, that dragon
That's
doll is
cool.
really cool.
I know. Actually, I want to know whose doll this is. Who made this?
It has dragon ass.
Totally.
Yes. Oh, the
Oh,
whole
very cool.
website is just in Japanese.
Yeah. Very cool. So I think you had talked about, Avari, that you wanted to make some outfits so you guys can like match. Is
Yeah, I
that like
think
kind
it's
of some
cute.
inspiration here?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a good account. It's beautiful. Good photography.
I know.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Thought put into the idea of getting the matching outfits and then where to take the photos and stuff. Like
Hmm.
their work is well thought out.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a lot of work, a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Or so it feels like to me, a very sometimes lazy person.
Same.
No, but you can make it happen. You can make it happen, Avari.
One day, I'll do it one day. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Cool, cool. So I think that's it. Oh, okay. One last question.
Okay.
Which doll companies do you feel are really pushing their limits about being creative?
Dream Valley.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel like
like
the answer
obsessed
is
with that company, alright? Like I love Dream Valley. Everything they've
Dream
done so
Valley does some
far,
awesome stuff.
is hitting it. I like it.
What about
Another one
you, Nova?
I think would be a Gym of Doll is randomly out of nowhere doing really like cool outfits and
Oh
cool
yeah,
dolls.
they are. Man, if only the doll's body is a little bit less childish.
Yeah, they haven't made a doll yet that I've totally wanted, but their outfits always really make me go, "Wow, that's
Right?
pretty cool!" Like
Like
they
the
thought that
SD
out well.
dolls are amazing.
Yeah, they do some really amazing outfits. So definitely them for their outfits.
Hmm.
To think because I felt like I think we've talked about this too, but just to like reiterate, I felt like Doll Chateau did some really cool stuff back in the day, but now they're not that cool anymore. Like I feel like they've kind of been safe, you know.
Do you see the
So
new ones? They coming out with the new ones. They just posted on their Instagram.
yeah, the ventriloquist, I guess
Yeah, the
not the
cloud looking one and
with the
the
puppet.
rabbit. Yeah, with the
Yeah, yeah.
puppet.
So yeah, it's getting there, but it's not what I remembered from like old school Del Chateau, right? So
I
like
remember
even the
when.
spider body.
Yeah, I love that spider body. I hope they
So
bring the spider theme back.
for sure.
I want another spider.
Cool.
So I can't really think of a company other than the ones that you guys have mentioned in terms of like the stuff that people are doing. Agree with Gem Doll, like their dolls just are so pretty now, and I guess like Angel Studio kind of falls in that bucket, like
Mhm.
with like the mermaids that they've been making and things like that. So yeah, hopefully
Uh,
there'll be a lot more stuff like cool
Actually, Mio
stuff.
doll. Mayo. I don't know how you call it. The one that you just sent an order out. I think last week, Papita, with a nun.
Sorry, I just muted myself. I'm like not bad. I'm like I like it. So this it like blinks and I'm like, is it blinking? Yeah. So it's yeah, that Miyu. I was like, oh yeah, it looks like Mio, but it's like not. It's like Miyu, and that's what somebody said. It's like me and you. I was like, okay, that's cool. But
However you want to
yeah, I think
say
they're doing
it.
cool stuff, and they're affordable too.
They
They're-
are. Their bodies actually so nice. The doll bodies. I really like how they have like different body varieties for you to choose from. The head sculpt is great. A little bit big
Mhm.
for my liking, but I still like this in like a
Yeah,
whole aesthetic.
I like the eggheads too. Like big head here.
Yeah.
We all can't have small dainty brains, so but yeah, for sure. And that's why like it's cool to see where like doll hobbies are, even if they're not like necessarily like revolutionary in terms of like, oh, they need to make a one-armed, one-eyed, dog with a pogo stick leg.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. Like, but the thing is that their affordability for a lot of dolls has become more accessible to a lot of people. So that
Hmm.
like for instance, like the Dahlia that I bought, the limited doll, can't get her anymore because she was time limited, but if you did buy her during the event period blank, you could have paid like $180 for her, like a blank
Oh yeah,
new
definitely.
doll. And to me that's like really like wow.
It's very
Like wow.
affordable. Yeah.
So
Like Doll Zone's doing some really like out off the wall stuff lately
yeah,
too. Especially
like the
with their Zero
cyborg.
girl.
I'm
Is that her name?
excited to
Zero, I
see my
think.
zero.
She is so
Christina hasn't
cool.
said anything yet, so I don't think she's there yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys all do with her, the ones that got her, because she is so neat.
She's also since we kinda on the new innovative topics. Have you seen the Zoom? I think it was Zoom. New authentication method. I think it
Oh
was
yeah, the way
like
you can like scan their head or
yeah,
body with the smartphone.
Can you pull that up, Avari?
yeah.
I can never find stuff on Zoom's website because they have like 10 websites and I
Oh,
never
I
pick the right
know.
one.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Zoom.
Such a cool way to tell if a doll is a recast or not, though. You can just scan its head with your phone. Like, wow. I'm glad people are using technology like that for dolls.
I know, right?
It's
Oh,
pretty cool to
it's
see.
show me Zoom. Hang on. Let me show the screen.
I think it has a chip in there, right? Like some kind of chip
I
that
think
your
so, yeah.
phone scans or beeps.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly it works, but that's pretty
Alright, there
awesome.
we go. Oh, oops. Click full screen. Alright, there we go. I don't know if I will be able to find it again, but
Maybe Nova has it because I think Nova. I
Probably
think you
find it.
sent it. Yeah, no, we should have asked Nova. Nova's like the Zoom
yeah.
like queen. That's the wrong person. I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh, here, right here. Smart certificate verification.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's awesome.
Yeah, like holy shit. When I saw this sharing on Instagram, I was like, okay, no way this is real. No way they doing this. This is gotta be like some sort of joke or something.
Smart doll would have had something like this first. Zoom now smarter than Danny's choose
Yeah.
smart doll.
Controversial statement.
You just know they're gonna come first. But yeah, I think it's a really cool thing. Like, look at this. You just slap your phone or something on their forehead and be
Slap.
like, this is legit. That is
That
the
is cool.
future, though. I feel like big companies should do this, especially Fairyland. I know
I
you're
wonder
not
if
watching, but you should.
I wonder if this is because, for instance, like recasters, like this would be an additional cost, but I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
this has caused or will cause Zoom dolls to go up a little bit in price just because of this, or I don't know if you know what I mean. Like I wonder what the cost. Um,
Would
Cost
it
more for them to make
increase?
it.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. I can't speak, but yes,
Mm,
exactly.
I almost think I wouldn't mind because then you could always prove that your doll was a legit.
yeah.
Yeah, without this finicky, stupid certificates, like it's just, I always hate it when people are like, "Oh, I'm keeping the head certificate," which is like the sculpt name with the body, and I'm like, ugh, I won't buy from people who do that. I don't know if it's true. I saw somebody say that they were leaving the Fairyland certificate with the body because that's what Fairyland said the certificates were for. Is that true?
No, I don't think so.
The certificate went with the Fairyland heads, and the box went
Yeah.
with the bodies.
Well,
Just
that's so that person
kidding.
said Fairyland said, and then that's why they said that they wouldn't get so I think they were selling a head, and then they said that the certificate will remain with the body as Fairyland said it's supposed to, and I was like, no, because for me, I agree.
No.
The head should get the certificate because the bodies, it's like four
It's
different
huge.
types, right?
Yeah.
And
And
then
I mean, for the
yeah,
body, you should just use the box anyways. Like, what are you gonna keep the
exactly.
box for?
Yeah, and that's why I hate boxes, but I keep them
Yeah.
because I feel like there's still like an extra level of, validity.
Security. Yeah.
But I
like them
hate
for
I
storage if I have to
hate
move
them.
my doll or if I sell it.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know. They're so bulky and they're annoying, and then I have to
I
keep the
have a whole
shipper
closet
box.
dedicated to doll boxes. It's like, oh man, I open it and I'm like,
Yeah,
man.
I
Yeah,
know. I need to do that.
I did make a mistake that buying a doll without a box secondhand. Which okay, she is legit because I know the person who
Mhm.
I'm friend with the person who sold it to me, and she did show me the receipt and stuff. But I opt out of the box because I was like, you know what, it's okay because I know her and the box would cost a lot
Mhm.
more for shipping. I kind of regret it now because she doesn't have um, a paper from Fairyland.
Yeah. It's hard to say because I know some people throw out their boxes. I think DX Girly throws out all her boxes because I don't think any of the dolls she sells have boxes. But she obviously doesn't buy recast, but
Yeah.
her price is, I think, really good for getting a doll body, regardless of the box, because some people throw them out. But yeah, so but I also feel like by not having a box, maybe you could get a little bit more for it. I don't know.
I have never done that, but talking about buying stuff, I feel like I have seen this a few people. Once in a while, they be selling like just doll box for profit.
Really?
Yeah, I have seen people done that.
It's kind of weird.
It's very finicky. Like, what if someone have a recast, buy
Mhm.
a legit box, and just sell it as that, and just say they lost the certificate? It's so
Mhm.
iffy. Why are you selling the box? Either throw it out or keep it. I don't
Mhm.
remember who did this, but I saw it a few times. I was like, why?
Yeah. Yeah. I can kind of see that. Like, so there's a collector who I know, and I used to have a Sold Out Clara, and I have the certificate somewhere, but I need to find it again. But I was actually going to offer it to them if they
Hmm.
wanted it, just because I'm like nearly positive Sold Out Clara was discontinued before anybody wanted
Hmm.
them. But I would just give it to them. But I also know they don't buy recasts. You know what I mean? Because back
Yeah.
in the day, it wasn't a concern. Like I had some like old certificates in like boxes. I threw them away because I don't have the doll anymore. And I actually sold dolls at convention. I was like, well, I brought this here, but if somebody wants to buy him, I actually sold dolls that way. I'm like, holy cow. And they're like, I can pay you all in full right now. And I'm like, now I look back and I'm like, man, those were the days because it wasn't so common to see dolls and
Hmm.
people didn't want to wait. And there were only a handful of companies. So you're either getting like an L, a Chiwu, a Shiwu, or you're getting a custom house doll, or you're getting a Volks doll. Those are your options. So,
Yeah.
people would be like, okay, I want to buy this. And, I had a Soldal, and Soldal came on the scene too. And, it was cool. Like, but I just don't know what to do with it. And it feels like sad just to trash it. But I think it's trickier for people who might have like, Fairyland dolls. If you sold like
Hmm.
a certificate separately, that's maybe
That's
a little bit
that's
shady.
tricky. Yeah. Yeah, there was
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely a little shady.
right. I didn't know why. I don't know if they have sold it. I don't know if their post was removed. I don't know what happened to it because I only skimmed through the Facebook. It was on Facebook because why not? Yeah, I was skimming through it and they would. I just saw like a bunch of boxes and they were selling it for like 10, $5 around that much. I think it's sketchy. I probably should have taken a screenshot or something.
happens. It's not really uncommon. I think it's harder with like ball jointed dolls or any stretch. I'm like, oh, because I feel like with BJDs, the recasting is such a big deal. But like I've seen people sell like Barbie boxes, like
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean. So it's not that weird of a thing.
Mhm.
But it is for I guess ball jointed doll
Yeah.
a hobby. It's just because of the recast problem.
Yeah. Definitely. I should turn off that Zoom thing.
So yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much all we have today. Do you guys have anything else to add or say or do?
Well, I feel like that's my cue to tell people to join Discord because you
All as
should.
always.
Join us.
You really
Yeah,
should.
it's gotten a little bit more active, so it's kind of cool. But I think what I like most about the Discord, I don't know if I said this before because memory's not as good as it used to be,
That's a huge
is that
spider.
is that I just like how people aren't defensive and weird on that server,
Mhm.
and you can just talk about stuff without people going like, yeah, I already knew, or yeah, don't tell me, like you're not the boss. I always see that like in some Facebook groups and other things that you're on social media, and it's sometimes hard to speak up and talk, but I feel like it's so chill, and we're like, hey, there's a lot of options. There's no right or wrong way, but if you do it this way, you might want to be a little bit more careful. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we're
join
very chill,
us.
so join us. I swear we're fun.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun and like it, okay? Cool. So, thanks for joining us today, and we will see you guys next time. Get my doll. She can be like,
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
bye.